Oh, it's already 9. So like, should we like,
Mm. Yeah, it's live now.
oh yeah. Okay, I think like we are going to wait for a few minutes for people to join in first. Then we'll start. All right, okay. So, hello everyone. Welcome to our very first podcast. Good evening to all of you here. This may be the first time you listen to our podcast. So, hi, my name is Sophia, and I am going to be the moderator for today with our special guest Alex and Defola. All right. So, as you can see, as the title says, what and why. Today, we will dig into the introduction of this club and a little bit of the leaders. Right? Interesting. Okay. So, hi, Alex and Defola. How are you? So may
I'm
you both
good.
take
Good,
minutes
I'm
to
good.
introduce yourself? Maybe we can start with Alex first.
Oh, me first. So,
Yeah.
hi, my name is Alex Shai. Currently final first taking IT, majoring in data science, data analytics. So yeah, I've been in this university for 5 years, and I'm also the current USC lead for Developer Student Club UTP. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much me about me. You'll find out more about me in a bit, I guess. How about you, Daffy?
Hi, all right. So my name is Dafolo. You can just call me Daffy. Currently basically doing my master's, focusing more towards sentiment analysis in terms of my research. I was actually the ex DSC lead. In fact, I was the first DSC lead in our university, and quite a lot of experience and a lot of things. And very glad for the current term, Alex, and of course, Sophia being part of this term. So yeah.
All right. Okay. Nice. Now we already know a little bit of who the SC leads, and very much looking forward to getting more from the league. All right. Moving on. A developer student club. What is DSC actually? Like, what is the purpose of this club, and why was it being established in the first place? So yeah,
How
maybe
about
we
you
can.
answer that, Daffy, since you established the club?
All right. So, a developer student club is the purpose of the developer student club is to actually bridge the gap between the theory and practical of tech or any IT stuff. Because a lot of times, when it comes to education in universities, it's always more towards the theory part and less of practical. So, DSC basically bridges that to allow people or students, to be specific students, to actually learn more practically learn more. And this is basically a very important thing in this society, because when we go and graduate and we start working for a company, almost everyone basically is more towards what kind of skills do you have. Skills that
Mm-hmm,
basically, to be specific, your practical skills, not the theory part. You may basically have a good foundation of theory, but are you able to change that to practical? That's also another thing. So and that's the whole purpose of this club, to bring students to actually to learn more. Its main focus is actually more towards Google related services or dev tools, but it can go beyond that to actually enhance students and to work on our projects and to go bigger, in terms of how we can do this as a community working on open source projects. So that's one of the reasons why we actually had DSC actually, like, it's actually a very good initiative by Google, and
mm-hmm.
definitely helped a lot of students along the way, which I wish that we could have that way back then also. So that's me. What
Yeah,
about
true,
Alex? Do you
true.
want to say anything else?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean that's what Google planned it to be, lah. But to me, it's more like way for us to actually get the community together in UTP, because I would say the tech community in UTP is not as active as the engineering community in UTP,
Right,
because we are like a minor faculty, right, compared to the engineering
Mm-hmm.
one.
right.
And so like there's a lot of people in the tech faculty that's actually very good in technical stuff, like making softwares, making programs, making their own websites and things. And there's also people who like maybe they're like the type of person that's like very good at this kind of stuff, but their classmates are not, right? Maybe their classmates are interested in other things, right? So they don't really know who to share their knowledge, or like they want to talk to someone, like they want to be excited about new technology, right? They don't know who to talk to, right? So DSC UTP Developers Know Club is we plan to create a place for them to like to be excited about something together with other people, to share their stuff, just to overall increase the community vibes of the IT faculty, and of course help improve their technical skills. That's why we have a lot of activities. So yeah, I mean that's what it means for me, lah.
All right. Okay. Actually, the reason why I joined the DSC in the first place is also because I find this club is very interesting, and actually, I agreed to Alex about regarding the platform and stuff because I've known a lot of UTP students that have that pool of talent of in programming, in website, creating a website and stuff. But then UTP doesn't really have a club or a platform to that for them to really show their skill. Yeah. So why is DSC important for the students? Yeah. What do you guys think?
I guess I'll start first then. Well, as I mentioned above earlier, DSC is more like it's a club, right? But I would say compared to a lot of the other conventional clubs in UTP, our club is a lot more relaxing in a way. Because some other clubs, I don't want to call names, but some other clubs are very strict with their rules, you have to do this, you have to do that, like, you have a strict timeline, you have to do this, you have to do that, right? For our club, at least for my term, I try to make it a lot more relaxing, where people are here because they want to be here, right? People are taking part in our activities because they want to be in part of the activities, right? They're here because they want to learn by themselves, right? I'm not going to force anyone to do anything. Because it's a community, right? A community that everyone can just hang out and chill around. But then, of course, the main goal of our club to create community or somewhere for everyone to actually improve together, meet new friends, who knows, you might meet your best friends here, even your soulmate, who knows, right? Or maybe you can just suddenly discover a completely new programming language that you're suddenly hooked onto, right? Suddenly you discover something about machine learning, and then suddenly you're like, oh shit, I actually like machine learning. So little things like this, there's a lot of things that you won't know until you actually do it. So I mean, DSC is actually like a platform for people to actually find out about these kind of things. That's it. At least that's what I'm trying to do. So what do you think, Daffy?
I definitely agree with you in that sense. The reason why why DSC is important because like we don't actually really have a proper platform to showcase our skills and all that. Like just imagine that we have a group of students who are working on a open source project where everyone contributes not to showcase their skills, but to come up with an amazing project that can help the community. And that's something basically it's amazing. And I know that basically not a lot of clubs or other events they actually do such thing. So having this DSC, agree with Alex that it's definitely one of the best platforms to actually showcase your skills and learn new skills and understand why do we do this and why do we do that. And also to leverage on the platform for connections, network, because at the end of the day, you never know the people that you talk to or you communicate with. You never know they might help you with your own projects or help that you need. So yeah, that's why I do believe that it's very important for students. And best part is that not just technical students, it can be even non-technical who wants to learn about IT stuff. They can be part of it too.
Yeah. Okay. So my hope for the SC Club in the future is I hope that we can attract more students to join our club so that our club can get bigger and we can have a bigger community just like the engineering community. And I just hope that this kind of person who like to develop website, application, programming and stuff, they will find the right platform, which is DSC, to really, really show their skills and talents. Right.
Agreed.
Okay. So as the DSC leaders, right, would you guys mind sharing a bit on what are the responsibilities of being a DSC lead? Like anything you guys wanted to share with us today, like any hardship that you have faced before or any interesting story. Maybe Duffy might have a different experience in handling the club compared to Alex. And so yeah, maybe you guys can share a little bit on that.
Daffy, go first.
All right. So, all right. So I would say there's a lot of things that happen during my term. Obviously, the hardship that we have is trying to get law students to come for this event and to understand the reason why we're doing this, because um, a lot of things like the students in UTP are not really practical driven, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just that we need to basically bring up this culture more to UTP students to understand that, hey, it's not just the theory part; it's more towards the practical. Yeah, during my time, there were a lot of hardships, like trying to make things happen. A lot of, more towards the university side on the things that we could have done it faster, but we couldn't because a lot of procedures to adhere to, which I understand it's very normal. And I believe I believe it's the same thing for other students who were basically hosting DSC the first time in their own university. During our time itself, we actually had a lot of hardships because a lot of things that we want to do, it's very hard to make it happen due to like example SOPs that we had to follow. Um, but the responsibilities of being a DSC lead is trying to basically, as I mentioned just now, it's the same. It's basically the goal of DSC itself, trying to basically bridge the gap between practical and theory. That's basically our responsibility. Try to basically bring up multiple workshops that we believe that students should know. They might see it as advanced, but the workshops are mainly just basic, where allow students to actually understand and then know how to implement their own projects. And this kind of platforms, I do believe that it will also help out with the FYP projects, because I knew a lot of students will develop their own projects, right? So eventually, learning about all of this will help them out. And our responsibilities also is to try to build a community um, where when it comes to sometimes when there's sometimes where we need to solve a problem, or we need to like help each other out. This particular platform allows it, and as a leader, we're supposed to make that happen. Um,
Mhm.
Allowing people to talk, to interact, to work on problems, solving together, and mentoring each other as they go along. Because that's the whole point of a DSC. Um, I understand that during this pandemic, a lot of things are just virtual, but I do also believe it makes there are a lot of tools out there which can be used to work together and make things happen. Um, and and there's no limits, like we can have a face to face, but deaf stuff, tech stuff, you can easily do it online, and there are no limits. It's just a matter of how you want to pull it off. So I do believe that my experience is different. It's gonna be. I mean, my experience is definitely gonna be different from Alexa. I mean, he just started his term, and and he was actually part of my term also. He was one of the core members, and we were talking a lot in terms of the things that like, because it was our first time doing this ESC thing, and uh, we learn the things that we shouldn't do and we should do, and the things that we try to tweak. So definitely Alex's way of pulling this off is going to be different from my term, so that we don't make the same mistakes that we that has happened. um, I think that's basically about it from my side. I'll pass it to Alex and see what he wants to say.
All right, Alex, let's go.
Since I kind of started with Daffy, right? I mean, before that, I was kind of in a lot of other clubs also. The either IT club in UTP. But then now it's being handled by someone else, right? So Daffy kind of like pulled me from that club in a way. He just like hit me out and be like, "Yo, you wanna be in this thing?" And then I'm just like, "Why not, right?" And then like the first time, I think with Daffy is kind of difficult because we're starting everything from scratch, right? And like starting a whole new club is never easy. You have a lot of things to do. You need to like what's the word? a lot of procedures, right? You have to do a lot of documentations. You need to find this, you need to find members, you need to do all these kind of things. It's not easy, right? So like during the last tenure is definitely a lot harder, I believe, than my tenure. Whereas for my tenure, things are quite easy compared to last tenure because I already kind of have everything settled down already, the hard part.
Mhm.
So for me, like my responsibility is just that to make this thing happen. It's like I have all the resources, right? I have all the resources. I have friends, I have connections, I have materials, I have connections with management and all that kind of stuff. I just need to make it happen, right? And since I'm the DSC lead, it's kind of my responsibility to make it happen. Since like you're the leader, right? There's like what 100 people below you that's in the club, for example. Like, if I don't do anything, no one's gonna do anything. The,
True.
the members are not gonna do anything, right? It's like unless you start something, you push them along, then everyone's just gonna, oh, okay, I'm kind of excited about this thing. I'm kind of curious about this thing. I'm interested in this thing, right? Then everyone will just kind of do on their own, right? And my responsibility is also to make them feel welcome in the club, right? I don't want it to be like very strict. I know there are some clubs in UTP that I don't want to name. It's very straightforward, like strict. It's like a job, right? It's not really like a club. It's like a job. So it's like a lot of people will feel very pressured. I don't want that experience. I kind of make it relaxing, like a family kind of feeling. So like even like normal members would voice out what they want to do, right? Or even a normal member can come out and tell me that I'm wrong. I don't mind. Like that's just how it is, right? I might be wrong all the time, right? I'm not perfect, right? So if they tell me that they're wrong, then I'll just listen to them and see their point of view, right? Then I can make changes accordingly, right? And that's my responsibility to make everyone feel welcome. And when people feel welcome, like this is not a job, this is just something that they want to do themselves from the bottom of their heart, they'll just do it, right? I don't want to force people to do things because forced work is usually bad quality. So yeah, I mean, like I'm just trying to make everyone feel welcome and just continue to build on this community and continue to make the community better. I know all these things are very hard to do in 1 year, right? And then there's going to be the next DSC lead, right? After I graduate, then there's going to be the next DSC lead after that guy graduates, right? So it's just like slowly but surely we should be able to become a big club, a big community that everyone wants to be in, right? And everyone wants to be part of this community. Then it'll be great. You know, that's I guess my responsibility to do my part, lah. Yeah.
All right. So, Daffy and Alex, I believe you guys come from the same team back then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. May I know, like, how small or how big were the team back then before? Like, it consists of how many members back then?
Go ahead, Alex.
Uh,
Over to you.
okay. The team, right? The core team, the whole core team, including like the committees and the lead until the lead. What that's 10, 7, 8, 7. So it's we like right now we have departments, right? Right now we have departments. We have 4 departments, and each department has their own exco and a number of committees, right? But back then we only have like 7 people, and that's it. That's the whole DSC UTP. And then we have members, and then there's members, and then like since we were struggling, right? So the members were kind of inactive also because we failed to do anything in the beginning, right? But then slowly, of course, we picked up after that, like near the end, when everything started coming down. So like comparing now and then, we actually like multiple outsized by like what 3-4 times. Because if I'm not wrong, we have like 30, 40 committees and core team now in the club, right? So I guess that's like the change, I would say.
All right. Okay. So moving on. So what are the benefits of being the SC lead? Since it is also under Google as well, right? So yeah, maybe we can start with Alex or Daffy.
Alex.
Go ahead.
No, Alex.
No,
You go ahead.
Well, benefits wise, okay, since we are kind of powered by Google, of course we can't simply do whatever we want, right? Because we're carrying Google's name in a way, right? Google developers. Right? So we have to follow a certain set of guidelines that are not too strict. It's not that bad, I would say, the guidelines. And of course, because of that, we also are in connection with community manager from Google developers. So, I mean, throughout that time, you can learn a lot of things talking to him. You know. or talking to other DSC leads, right? Making new friends, making DSC leads from other universities or other countries, right? There's a lot of DSCs all around the world, even in the United States, right? So Malaysia, there's like around 20, I would say, or more or less. Lah. So I mean, the main benefits is that, first of all, it's a very good experience, right? You get to actually talk to people from Google developers, which is a very fun experience. Lah. And then you get to meet other DSC leads also, who might have the same or very completely different views on how a DSC should run. Right. For example, I met one of the DSC lead from another university. Like his view on DSC is very, very, very technical. Everything is super technical, right? And for me, I'm more of a community-based kind of guy. So like when we were talking, it's kind of like we have very different views, but like none of our views are wrong, right? We both respect each other's views and we our stuff a lot according to each other's correct views, because they mention something that you might not think of, and then I mention something that they might not think of. Then like being a DSC lead, you get to connect with other DSC leads, right? And then you get to learn from each other. You get to see how things are there. You get to work together with each other, meet new friends, things, all these kind of things. And of course, you come with a lot of responsibility that you have to do, right? Because you don't wanna ruin the name of your university, right? Because you're carrying the name of DSC University, UTP, right?
Yeah.
So whatever I do kind of reflects UTP. So I can't really like mess up in a way, And yeah. What about you, Daphne?
I mean, in terms of the question,
Hello?
hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Like the benefits of being a DSC lead, I would say that obviously, as we do have access to Google developer resources, which allows us to basically bring into the community. Like even basically being part of this platform, if the internship time comes, there's a possibility where you can even apply for internship in Google. Not us, not just leaders, but even the members also. And yeah, it is awesome. I'm not saying it's easy to get it, but it's worth a try if you really want to intern in Google, especially to be exact, actually Google Singapore, if it's more towards tech. And in this, one of the other benefits is that as being a DSC, we do have like a lot of network with other DSCs, other universities, and anyone who's actually part of the Google platform. Like we have all those professional Google developers out there and people who are working Google at the same time. So we technically have connections with them if we want to tap into that network. And we are technically on the Google. Just that it doesn't mean that we have all the access. It's just that what can we do and like the people we can talk to and stuff. But most of the benefits as already mentioned by Alex already, and just top up with mine. So yeah, that's just basically it.
All right, that's great. Thank you. And I think for me, it is very beneficial for the students. Plus, you could gain many experiences, and that's what I am looking for, at least, because I was very looking forward more for this club, and I actually wanted to have, maybe I have this thought that maybe I can do internship at Google by joining this club and stuff. But yeah, we'll see in the future. So who knows, the one who is listening to this podcast might want to be the DSC lead in the future, right? So may you guys share on what are the steps of becoming the DSC lead?
Yeah. What was the question? Oh, it was
becoming DSC lead.
Yeah.
You go ahead, like you answer that question.
Okay, I mean, like previously we talked about the benefits, right? I mean, like I'm wearing the shirt by.
Whoa.
Yeah, like I know there's a lot of like benefits where everyone wants to be like, oh my god, I get to be connected to Google, right? But it's definitely not easy. It's very not easy. So I think it's open every year. I don't actually remember the specific time where it's open, but you have to submit a lot of things, right? You have to fill a lot of forms, and then you have a lot of criteria, right? I think a common misconception of DSC lead is that if you want to be a DSC lead, you have to be very good technically. I mean, that's yes and no, right? Being very good technical stuff, it's good. It helps you boost your resume, right? If you take part in a lot of hackathons, a lot of competitions, coding competitions, you write your own tech blog and all that kind of stuff, it all helps. It definitely helps a lot. But more importantly, you need to also have the soft skills, right? If you're the kind of person who can make a website in 2 minutes or 2 hours, but you can't talk to people, you are still not. I don't think I don't think it's like a quality that a DSC lead should have. I mean, because since we're leading a club or leading a community, right? You should be good at, I mean, decently good at technical stuff, but also at the same time be good at managing a community, talking to people, leading people, running events, things like this. Personally, I'm not a very strong technical person. I mean, I have the basics. I'll say I'm average at best, right? I know all the things that UTP taught us. I have decently strong logical skills. Things like, I mean, I can do coding, I can write a program, right? But I'm not like the type that's good enough to do projects for example, right? So like, I think if you want to sign up, go ahead. The process is quite long. There's interviews. There's a lot of, you have to take a video of yourself. You have to fill a lot of forms. You have to have a decently good LinkedIn portfolio. You have to do quick labs, things like that, right? I mean, if you start doing all this and building all this necessary requirement from now, you should be able to be a good candidate by then. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things to do, but it's definitely worth it. Like, the end. At least that's how it is for me, For me, it was quite easy because Daffy was guiding me. Since he's done it before, right? But since Daffy is like the one that kind of started this club, right? The first DSC lead of UTP, if I'm not wrong. Like, how did you do it? How did you do it? Yeah.
Okay, so guys, make sure to acknowledge what Alex said first, all right? Before I start my thing, acknowledge what Alex said first.
All right.
So like during my time itself, I actually have my own portfolio of the projects and things that I've done. I may not have written blogs, but I have been working on other projects, freelancing projects that allows me to work on my portfolio and at the same time working on my skill set. So during my time itself, when I've done that, then I saw an opportunity to apply for DSC because I saw this DSC and I didn't know it existed. Because I mean, I saw it on website. I think on Facebook or LinkedIn, either one. So I applied for it, and obviously to apply for it, you, like what Alex said, you need a form, and you need to fill out a form, and obviously you need to show your contribution, like what have you done or what are your contribution towards just being an IT student. All right, like what are the things that you have done. So it doesn't really mainly focuses on projects, but it can also basically go towards blogs. It can also go beyond that, where it means you've been helping other people with some a little project, or maybe you're trying to basically help someone with the UI UX. All of this basically contributes towards building up a portfolio. And obviously, to apply and to get accepted was really a privilege because I thought I'm going to be rejected. Honestly speaking, I didn't had any expectations of being accepted. Because the way that the every year it becomes much more difficult due to the number of people applying and also how good you are at. So maybe in a university you can have a lot of people be part of it, but at the same time you don't have to be super technical, which is the reason why I said to acknowledge what Alex said. Because
Okay.
if you're the kind of person where you're a community-based person, like for example, you help the community out, and at the same time bring people together to learn together, all that kind of stuff, that is also good. That is also good. At the end of the day, you don't justify yourself whether you be accepted. Google will tell you whether you're accepted or not. The team will choose for you. So, like if you see the difference between me and Alex, I'm a technical person. I may not be a hardcore person, but I am a technical person compared to Alex. Alex is super based, social based, which is the upside of him, and which is the reason. Like even though the difference, you can see the reason why he still got accepted as being a DSC for this one, right? So This just shows, and for those people who want to apply for it, you don't have to be worried about the fact that you don't have this, you don't have that. Don't rush within one day just to do all of these things, just to show them you've done this. Just take it easy. Just be honest, and then just fill up for the form and show what you have done before. Um, at the end of the day, if you manage to get it, awesome, because um, after the form, after that process, you have the interview process where someone will interview you and will ask you questions. And obviously, the way that you share will justify, including what you have submitted before that, will justify whether you are accepted or not. Um, for those who wish, I mean, there's no limits to who can or who cannot. It doesn't matter also from which course you are in. So you can just basically apply for it, and then um, just remember the main goal is to help students in UTP to understand the practical part of IT in general. Because at the end of the day, as being part of a DSC, applying for a DSC lead will allow you to bring all the Google resources to UTP and to enhance students' knowledge on those type of programs or tools out there. So yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So what I get is, it doesn't matter what course you are in, right? You can be from technology course or non-technology course, but you can still be the DSC lead, right?
Yeah. I mean, like,
All right.
one of the DSC lead from I forgot which university. Like, she's actually taking sports science, which is like totally unrelated, right? But taking sports science is totally like she's a DSC lead, right? So I mean, like, it's just a prime example. Like, it doesn't have to be like you have to be technical. You don't have to be like IT. As long as you're passionate about it and you want to like help IT
Learn.
students or
Yeah.
in the IT field, it's fine. Yeah.
All right, that's very useful, Alex and Duffy. Thank you so much. But before we end our very first episode here, I would like to jump into the Q&A session where we have received quite few questions that I want you guys to answer. So the first question would be, is there any possibility for Google to conduct any official event in UTP?
Uh, short answer, no. Like, they won't really make any official event in UTP. But what we can do as DSC is we can maybe invite people from Google to take part in activities. Right? For example, one of our podcasts in the future will be with the community manager of Google developers, right? So maybe hopefully we get other people from Google, right? So I mean, like, they won't actually like come to UTP and be like, hey, we're gonna do an event here, right? But then we can do that by inviting them, asking them, to join our podcast or like give a talk or give a workshop. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. All right, the next question would be, what are the future plans or events from DSC?
Well, another question for me, I guess. So, first of all, we have this podcast series, right? This podcast series will most likely be monthly or every 3 weeks. I mean, every 3 weeks is the idea, but it's kind of like monthly in this way, right? Other than that, we have workshops. Workshops will be focused on teaching specifically things that you won't learn in UTP syllabus. So we have a technical development team where their focus right now is they have to learn something. I basically told them you have 1 semester to learn something, and then at the end of the semester you have to teach it. Right, that's your one job. Right, you have that's what we're doing. Like, so that's at the workshops, right? That I told them, okay, you don't teach something that everyone can learn from class. People won't come. I already learned this in class. Why would I come here? Right? So like, yeah, I mean. And other than that, we plan to have hackathons. Hackathons are basically coding competitions, and quick coding competitions. For example, right? Maybe the title of a hackathon, one of the hackathons could be like, oh, make a website in 24 hours. Best website wins.
Wow. Okay.
Just an example. Like, okay. We give you a data set, like, find out about this, right? And you have 24 hours, whatever, right? And whoever did it the best wins. Of course, we have judges for that. Maybe not me. Maybe someone from UTP itself, from CIS department, or from any outsiders. Maybe we can invite them or so on. So as of now, we have mainly these three things. But of course, there's also like other ad hoc events. Maybe you can collaborate with CIS of UTP. Or other clubs, maybe even to do events. But so far, the planned ones are these three. Yeah.
All right. I kind of agree with Alex's idea on the workshop thing because yes, we don't want to learn the thing that we already learned in class. So yeah, I think it's a very great idea to teach the people out there on the other things other than in class. Because as we can see in TikTok or Instagram, there is account that teach this kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's a very great idea. And the next question that we have here is from Huan Jian. He asked that how the SCUTP can help this UTP students, like from which aspect?
Okay, definitely you take this one.
Oh, why? Okay, sure.
I have the last two.
Fair enough. Okay, so I think that's a very good question, Hong Jen, but let's just break it down to certain points. In the SCUTP will actually bring a lot of resources that will allow you to actually understand how different tools work. For example, imagine that you're doing your final year project and you need to basically build a simple application, an application that requires you to design your own UI, user interface, and you have to basically connect it to your backend, which is a database, right? And you want the fastest way to connect with the backend and all that, but you don't have that knowledge to do it. You tried to YouTube, you still couldn't understand, and you want basically someone to help you out, like either virtual or face to face, for you to understand. So that is basically how awesome DSC is, because DSC allows that to happen. Imagine basically, I'm pretty much sure you heard of Firebase, which is one of the database by Google. Imagine basically DSC giving a simple basics or introduction about Firebase. With that knowledge yourself, you're able to know how to connect with your application. And the best part is that DSC UTP is a platform where if let's say you need help in your application, like for example, you do not know how to do a simple thing because of problem and all that, the community is big. It may not basically be focusing mainly on DSC UTP, but it can go beyond that in a sense of, let's say for example, Alex wants to basically ask someone else from another chapter to bring and to mentor you or to talk to you on how to basically solve these issues. That's the best thing about DSC. Technically, DSC is technically a network. It's a network of chapters in Malaysia where you can easily seek for help if needed. Because I'm pretty much sure there are a lot of technical people also out there at other universities. So nothing stops you. And just because and just to let you know that DSC is a platform where you should ask if you need something, or basically voice out if you need help or something. Eventually, the core team will help you out in the things that can help the students in general to understand more. Because as far as I know, when I was part of the DSC chapter, I understand that we didn't really have a lot of events, but we did have a lot of virtual workshops and all that. A lot of things have been shared, and a lot of students actually acknowledge what has been shared because they didn't know they can actually build an application using their own laptop. Like example,
Sure.
the knowledge of the fact that you need a high-end laptop to build an application when in fact you just need a minimum specs to actually build an application. So all of these small little things actually makes someone to actually gain more knowledge and help others in other generation as time goes by. So I hope that answers your question. But if that did not, you can easily basically chat in the WhatsApp group, like the members group, and ask questions over there. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe Alex, you want to add anything on that?
Yeah.
I mean, what Daffy said was basically everything. It is mainly like hi Kelvin, but it
Hi,
is mainly like put it this way, it's like a platform where you can learn from each other. Where if you need help, you can get help from us, right? Or if you join our events, I'm sure you'll learn a lot of things. You learn a lot of things that, like I said, you won't learn in probably the normal syllabus, right? We teach you about Firebase, for example. We actually have a Firebase event coming up, and then we also have like different competitions coming up, maybe such as global solution challenge, and a lot of other things like other events where you can learn. Mainly it's a place for you to learn and grow, like, technically wise, socially wise. Just that's mainly how it is for us. That's what we try to do. Yeah.
All right, that's great. That's great. Okay, so here James Wong said that, "Hi Lex and Duffy. I wonder how we can use Google service to contribute to our community." Yeah, maybe you guys want to answer that one.
Alex, do you want to answer that?
No, you can answer this.
Fair enough. All right. So Google services, and I'm going to be assuming that you're talking about like cloud computing or using database like Firebase, or maybe even using Google Maps and all that. Now, how does it contribute to our community? Now, example, as I mentioned, it's the same example that I used just now for your final year project, or maybe an example that you want to basically develop an app tracking or bus tracking application where you can track the bus's location from time to time, because we don't have a really proper application that tracks buses. So with basically Maps API provided by Google itself, you can easily basically work on an application, because you know how buses near, now I'm not talking about referring to UTP buses, but other buses that goes outward, like to other places, we don't really know the timing and all that. So what if basically we can come with something that helps the buses and UTP students to know what time will the bus come to this to UTP and go out and all that kind of stuff. So you can actually develop a simple application where you can use Maps API services, which actually helps the community. Like you're helping people to use this application. And this is just one example. If you can actually go big, you can go big in terms of how how you want to basically use Google services to help the community. And there's so many things, like for example, let's say you have like a lot of data sets you have collected from UTP students, okay, in regards to maybe about COVID, or maybe in regards to people who have accessed UTP, so that we know who basically is got in contact with the person who has COVID or not. You can easily basically put this in Google Cloud Computing, and they can process the data as fast to get whatever queries you want. And the best part, you can even do visualization too. So these services are like, right now you may see it as like, okay, this is just services and all that, but you basically will combine them together to actually make your application that will help out the community, because you won't basically just use one service, you use multiple services to combine them together to make it into an application. Another scenario would be like, for example, Angular. Angular is a front end, it's actually it's a framework that's basically by Google, and I'm saying it's by Google. So it's based on JavaScript, but it's by Google. And the fact that you actually that's actually by Google. So that's actually like one of the services, so-called services. It's not really services, it's a framework, you can just use it. But you will be using it to develop whatever web application you want, and combine it with Firebase as a database, and probably host it on Google's cloud service to run it. So a lot of services out there. It's just a matter for you to explore and to know which one would you want to use, and find a way of how to use it, because every services have documentation. Those documentation will help you out to know what to do next. So it's not like how basically it's not like back then during the 90s and 80s, where they don't have proper documentations and people have to do it from scratch. So we are definitely grateful and lucky the fact that we have documentation aligned to help us build what we want to build. Yep, that's basically my answer to that question, and I really hope that answers the question, James.
All right. Alex, do you want to add anything?
Nope.
Want to share anything? No? Okay.
No.
I guess
you said everything. Yeah. But yeah.
okay. I guess this will be the last question for today, which is also from James. He asked that, what is your opinion about the future IT community and its industry?
IT community. If you're talking about UTP, then I see great things. If we continue to do what DSC is trying to achieve and actually achieve it, I'm sure the UTP IT community in UTP will only get better. Maybe we will get as big as one of those biggest engineering faculties. For example, mechanical engineering, right? You know, mechanical engineering has IMechE, right? And that committee is quite big, right?
Yeah.
So if we keep going and keep doing what plan to do, I mean, like if we keep successfully achieving what we're trying to do, I'm sure the community will get bigger and better, right? We can only keep going up, unless we don't do anything. Then of course it's gonna die down, right? But if you're talking about the IT community in general and the industry, I feel like the industry will never stop going up. Like look at right now, right? COVID-19, right? I don't want to say that it's completely unaffected, but all these industries that's going out right now, airline industries, food industry, beverage industry, they're all affected, right? Like business are bad, you can't take flights, not much people are going out to eat, because of the pandemic, right? But the industry that doesn't get affected much is the IT company, because IT industry, because everything is online, right? You can do everything online. You have MST, or you have other Zoom, you have all these kind of things, or you have other. I mean, coding, everything is done on computer, right? And if you're talking to a computer, you don't have to talk to a person, and the computer can't give you COVID, right? And you can just spend all day at home in your office, in your room, coding, right? And the work will still be as the same as right now, as if there's no COVID-19, because it doesn't affect you, right?
Yeah.
And what more better things are coming out from the IT industry every year, the self-driving cars, Tesla, right? Tesla is even coming out with a bicycle for some reason, right?
Yeah.
I didn't look
Yeah.
into that, right? Things like that, right? Things like
Self-driving
that.
cars is crazy, man. That's crazy.
More and more things are gonna come out, right? Eventually, there's gonna be a lot of technology, flying cars even, or watches that do specific things, things like that. I mean, the industry will only keep going up because technology always improves, right? Eventually, things will keep getting better and better. People will rely more and more on technology. I mean, unfortunately, but not really. And people will keep relying more and more on technology, right? And technology will always. I hope it will always make people's life easier. So I mean, IT community is very big. It's more than what you know. It's more than what you see. Because a lot of people who doesn't really have the experience or doesn't really know much, they probably think that, oh, if you're in IT, you're coding all the time. You see in front of a computer, you're coding, right? Which is not true. There's a lot of things in IT that you can do. That's like developer relations, where you talk to people, you advocate about technology, right? Maybe you don't even code, right? But you can be in the IT industry doing something, right? You can just analyze data. You can analyze business data. Things like this. A lot of these things are not really what people think it is, and they belong in the IT industry also. As long anything we does with IT, information technology, it's part of IT. It's not just coding. Even if you don't like to code, you can also be big in the IT community, right? I'm not good at coding, I would say like that. But you can also
Same.
go big. You can approach other things. There's a lot of other things you can do. So I mean, and who knows? Maybe you're chemical engineering now, or you're civil engineering, and you graduate and you go into IT, right? Like my brother is studying civil engineering, and suddenly now he's working in an IT job. So it's like it's very big. It's like gigantic. It's not as small as maybe a lot of people know. It's how I see it. What about you, Debbie?
Well, if you actually ask me, I would say I definitely agree with what you have said. Um, but to add on with that, the future IT is gonna be big. It's gonna be big because IT is it's not just focusing on just technical part. It's doing other stuff like automations and a lot of other things. Um, and one thing about IT is that that's the sector where you don't have to worry about. I would say because um, like how a lot of people are worried about oil and gas because everyone is going towards renewable energy where we use solar and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but when it comes to IT, it's a different scenario. There's so many sectors you can be in, and you don't really have to worry about robots replacing us because robots will replace us, but in a certain extent, not to the point where it's fully gonna replace us. Um, the fact that we are the creators of robots, so you can't be expecting robots to replace us. That's the irony. But yeah, a lot of things um, in the future itself, when it comes to IT, it's more, you don't have to worry so much because there are a lot of things you could be part of, like how I have a lot of friends of mine who are part of data, like they're being a data analyst or a data scientist, and that's not really towards technical, but more towards how to. I mean, they do some programming and all that, but it's not that hardcore. It's more towards just applying models and understanding how to clean the data and all that, or maybe even basically designing user interfaces, user experience, because that's like the next thing. A lot of websites we see nowadays don't even have proper UI, and I don't even know how to use it. But and it's a sector where you don't have to worry so much, and also basically it's more of like if you know what you want in the IT sector, then you don't have to worry, because a lot of people have been trying to like do a lot of things. I can do this, I can do that, I can do that, but if you really ask them what's their specialty, they don't really have a specialty, because they expertise. They don't really have an expertise because they're focusing on so many things that there's no single they're not good in one thing. They're not really good in one thing. That's one thing. You can say that I can do this, I can do that, yes, but are you really good in it? That's the question. So just work on your way through it if you really want to be part of whichever path you would like to be. And yeah, don't have to worry so much. And even if you're a mechanical engineer background or any other engineering background, all right, don't worry so much, because eventually you can actually easily be part of this platform and learn different skill set and pick it up and build up your portfolio as you go along. So there's nothing to worry about.
Another reason to join DSC.
Yes, another.
Yeah, basically.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Alex and Nafi. But before we end, I just wanted to ask, where can we know more about DSC and get the latest update on this club?
Okay. We have a Facebook page and also an Instagram page, and we also just set up a YouTube. Our YouTube will basically be uploading our podcast episodes or any other events that we're doing. So if you want to watch our recordings or anything, you can go to YouTube. And of course, the podcast will also be live on YouTube. But most of our social media or our promotional materials or our next events will be on our Facebook and our Instagram.
All
So
right.
of course, we also have a WhatsApp group. So, join our WhatsApp group. We're also setting up a Discord channel. We will maybe share the link in the near future. Thanks, Calvin. So yeah, follow our Instagram, follow our Facebook, and yeah, that's how you can.
Yeah. Okay. So at DSCUTP, right?
Yep. At DSC.
All right. Thank you. I think this is the end for our first episode today. Thank you so much, Alex and Nafi, for a very great session with both of you. I had fun, and I guess we all gained so much information about DSC. So, guys, thank you so much for listening until the end. See you on the next episode on Another Day, Another Podcast with.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. See you next time.